It was a crisp morning in New York, and the studio was buzzing with energy. The bright lights of the set reflected off the polished desk as cameras focused on Megyn Kelly, poised and ready. Across from her sat Meghan Markle, calm on the surface but with an unmistakable spark of defiance in her eyes. The stage was set for what would become a historic live television confrontation. "Megyn, you've made some serious claims about your experience in the royal family," Megyn began, her voice firm but controlled. "Many people are asking why now and why so publicly." Megyn adjusted her posture, folding her hands neatly. "Because it's important for people to know the truth," she said softly, her voice steady. "I've tried to handle things privately, but the systemic pressures and prejudices are too widespread to ignore." The camera caught every micro-expression, Megyn's slight narrowing of the eyes, the subtle tension in Megyn's jaw. The audience could feel the air of unspoken challenges. Megyn's reputation as a sharp, no-nonsense interviewer preceded her, and Megyn was aware of it. She knew that a single misstep could be amplified by millions watching worldwide. "Many critics say you've benefited from privilege yourself, and yet you speak of being marginalized," Megyn pressed. "How do you reconcile that contradiction?" Megyn paused, taking a deep breath. She could feel the intensity rising, the line between journalist and adversary becoming blurred. "Privilege doesn't erase the challenges I faced. It doesn't mean discrimination or pressure didn't exist. It's not a contradiction. It's a reality that people need to hear." Megyn leaned forward slightly, her tone sharper now. "But some argue that by speaking out publicly, you've jeopardized the very relationships you claim to defend. Are you willing to risk that?" The studio fell silent. Even the production crew paused, knowing this was the turning point. Megyn's eyes flashed with determination. She could feel the weight of the moment, the scrutiny, the global attention, the potential backlash. But she also knew that telling the truth was worth every risk. "I've already risked everything," she said quietly, but with unshakable conviction. "And yes, I'm willing to do it again if it means people understand what really happened." Megyn straightened, sensing the perfect moment. She had her angle, her words sharpened like a blade. And with the next question, the confrontation escalated to a level no one in the studio had anticipated. Megyn's expression hardened. "So you admit publicly that some of your claims may be exaggerated or selectively presented?" Megyn's eyes widened slightly, but her voice didn't waver. "Exaggerated? No. Carefully articulated? Yes. Because context matters. People often hear headlines, not the details." The tension on set was palpable. Megyn, renowned for holding her ground, was now visibly frustrated. Context or not, millions are watching, and many feel manipulated by selective storytelling. Megyn leaned forward, meeting Megyn's gaze directly. "Manipulated? I'm sharing my lived experience. If people feel discomfort, maybe it's because the truths are uncomfortable for them, not because I've misled anyone." A murmur ran through the studio audience. Cameras zoomed in on Megyn's furrowed brow and Megyn's steady, unwavering expression. This was no ordinary interview. It was a battle of intellect, conviction, and control. "Let's get one thing straight," Megyn snapped. "You have influence, wealth, and a global platform. To some, your words seem performative rather than authentic. How do you answer that?" Megyn's voice rose, not in anger but in passionate clarity. "Influence doesn't negate reality. Wealth doesn't erase experiences. If the message is uncomfortable for some, it's because it challenges the polished narratives that people prefer." Megyn leaned back, calculating her next move. "So you don't see any personal accountability in how your actions affect others? In the royal circle?" Megyn's eyes glinted with defiance. "I'm accountable to the truth. And yes, some may feel exposed or vulnerable, but hiding the truth for convenience is not accountability, it's complicity." The tension reached a fever pitch. Megyn had expected a challenge, but not a verbal onslaught so precise and unwavering. And yet, Megyn had one more question, one that would leave Megyn momentarily speechless. "Do you honestly think the world believes your version of events?" Megyn inhaled deeply, holding eye contact. "I don't need everyone to believe me. I just need to speak it. History will judge, but I refuse to be silent." For a moment, the entire studio seemed frozen. Then, Megyn's carefully constructed skepticism started to crumble under the weight of Megyn's unwavering confidence. The argument had reached its climax. The cameras cut to a brief commercial break. The social media feeds had already exploded with comments, clips of the confrontation, going viral instantly. Headlines flashed, "Megyn Kelly destroyed. Megyn holds her ground." When the show resumed, Megyn maintained her professionalism. But the subtle shift in energy was palpable. Viewers everywhere sensed that Megyn had not only survived the interrogation, but had turned the tables. "Thank you, Megyn, for your candor," Megyn said, her tone slightly tempered, acknowledging the unspoken victory. "It's been an intense conversation." Megyn smiled softly, relieved but composed. "Thank you for asking the questions people wanted answered." Backstage, producers were already analyzing the footage. Social media analysts noted a spike in positive sentiment for Megyn, while debate raged on about Megyn's role as interviewer versus adversary. This interview would be dissected for months, studied in journalism schools, and endlessly debated in the public sphere. Megyn reflected quietly. She had anticipated a certain narrative, but Megyn's preparation, articulation, and poise had forced her to rethink every question, every angle. It was, by all accounts, one of the most intense confrontations in live television history. As the audience filtered out, Megyn took a moment to breathe. She knew the conversation had lasting impact, not just on viewers, but on public perception. She had defended her story, her truth, and most importantly, herself. The cameras slowly panned out. The studio lights dimmed slightly. The desk gleamed under the remaining glow, and Megyn's calm, confident demeanor stood in stark contrast to the chaos of the debate. She had survived the live confrontation, and in doing so, had emerged victorious. The end. A story of truth, resilience, and the power of standing your ground under global scrutiny.